Hello and welcome everyone, it's Shanna. Now today I'm going to be duping a card. I basically saw a card from Jamie Pate that she posted on her community tab, and I kept eyeballing it and I thought, I feel like I have the materials that I could create something similar. It's not going to be exactly like hers. I'm going to use product that I already have. I dug through my stash and found the elements that I need. I've got a panel here I'm going to do some mixed media on, and then we'll begin building some cards. I've got shabby shutters and mowed lawn distress oxide inks, and I'm going to use those. And we're just going to create a similar card. The post that Jamie had on her community was "You can do it, and I can show you how." And she links to a video in which she's creating this. And mine is going to be kind of similar, but a lot different too. So anyway, I'm just taking these two colors, and she did use green on hers as well. And I'm just adding some water, and I'm just tapping and blending up. And I'm really liking how this panel goes. And then when I go to add my distress sprays, and actually my distress mica spray, it kind of gets a little haywire. And then I'll make a second panel. But we're going to get going. Now, she had a butterfly on hers, and it was die cut out of word paper. And I actually had this extra panel from Alive the other night, in which I used this 3D embossed panel, and it's called Bird Collage, I think. And I've got all of these words on there in black and white, and I thought it kind of duplicated or replicated the butterfly that she had on hers. I had another butterfly. I used to have another butterfly that looked a lot more like hers, but I think I did some destashing and got rid of it. But this one will work just fine. I'm just popping out all the little bits and pieces. So she is real interesting in that she does a lot of collaging, and a lot of times her videos and posts are just panels in which she just creates a little collage, not necessarily a card or even a finished product, but a lot of panels. Sometimes, maybe pockets or journals or whatever. I don't know. I've only recently started watching her, and so this was an inspiration from her. So I certainly want to give her credit. Now there I just took my distress ink and sprayed it. And then I've got the mica, and this thing shoots out, boom. Really heavy-handed. And I'm like, woo, there's no going back on that. I'll grab a wet wipe and try to blot it, and it doesn't help. It just kind of makes it wetter. But I'm going to use this panel. I'm not giving up on it. But I'm going to do another one lighter, just so that maybe I can come closer to what she made. I don't know. Plus, I thought it'd be fun to have two. So for this one, since I put the ink away, I'm just going to use the sprays, and I'm going to be a little bit more careful with it. And just kind of spray the green shabby shutter spray on there and kind of get, that green color on the panel. So I'm going to get that rubber mat out of the way and put it up. I really need to clean it. I keep just folding it up and putting it away. I'm going to bring this heat tool in and just dry this a little bit so that I can continue to work on my cards and actually get a card. Actually, these are going to be panels, because in the style that she created she just made panels, and that's what I'm going to do. I actually am going to layer these because they got pretty wet, and so they bowed a little bit. So I'll add a backer panel on it that she did not add, but this is just, me making it my own at this point. But we've got these two panels, and I forget to get messy and play with these stains and inks and stuff. Now, I took that Love from Lizzie postage stamp die and used two of them and layered it out and cut a couple of frames out, similarly to how Jamie did hers. And I'm going to use those on both of these cards. Now, I'm going to try and trim some of this really dark away by trimming the bottom and the sides off where it's really heavy. We've still got quite a bit on there, but I think it's interesting, and I think it's going to work just fine. So I just used some pattern paper to die cut out that frame, and I'm going to use it. And we've got our butterfly, And I've decided that I want to run this panel through. She used some stamps, and I, stamped some gold words on there or whatever. But I thought I would use this embossing panel. It's called Scribbled Notes or Scribbles or something. It's a new embossing folder from Spellbinders, and I just ran it through the die cutting machine with the embossing panel and embossed. And so now we've got scribbled words on there. Now I didn't like that second frame that I had for this panel, so I'm going to create another one using, this is the Woodland Tells 12 by 12 paper. I had just a scrap of it, and I thought I liked the colors, and I thought it could work nice with this. So I'm looking for my washi tape so I can try and get this taped up, and then I'm going to die cut out another frame. So I did have two to start off with, but I decided that I would create this one because I like the color better. So we will get it taped down on there and run it through the die cutting machine, and now we've got another one. I needed a smaller one for this one. I guess that's why I die cut out a different one, because the other one was the same size as the larger one, and it's too much. So for my gold letters, I'm just going to put some lunar paste on my finger and just rub it across there and kind of highlight some of those words. And we're going to get some streaks that I think turned out pretty cool, and I'm going to like it. And so we'll just take some of this and just rub it on the words, and it'll just help them to pop through that green and just kind of really show up more. And we'll do both panels the same way. And so this is similar to hers, but it's also very different. And I'm just getting messy, getting that gold on my fingers. And this one I got some pretty good streaks on there, and I really liked how that looked. And of course you got all the shine to it. So I'm going to add some more to this, try and get some of that streaking like I got on the other one. And some more shimmer to it. And then we'll get this press and seal back on there and the lid back on it. That way it doesn't dry up. And then I needed a tag. She actually used a ticket is what she used for hers. But I was grabbing this Tim Holtz specimen ephemera. And I'm just going to grab a couple of pieces out of here that are going to be kind of tag shaped. And we'll use them for these two panels. And this is where I decide that I'm going to bring in a backer sheet for these just to kind of firm them up because, they were pretty wet. I did dry them. Now this one got really wet. And so what I decided to do with it was to go and grab some fun foam. And I'm going to my bin and grab it. And I'm just going to grab a brown panel of fun foam and cut it down. That way I have a good solid base for this because I thought this one felt kind of flimsy. And we'll get it laid down on there. We had another beautiful day today. Not quite as warm as it was yesterday. I did take the kids down to the school to play on the playground equipment, but they just didn't want to stay long because their little hands were cold. And so I got them back in the car, and we actually had a little snack in the car, and then they were ready to go. I was surprised. I figured Westy, the older one, would not want to leave, but he doesn't like cold hands, and his hands got cold, and he was ready to go. And so, but they did get to play for a little while. I did take a towel and kind of wipe the playground equipment down because it was a little wet from the rain that we'd gotten, so I wiped it all down so they could play. And they did slide quite a bit and swang, and then got them in the car. They had a little snack, and then I thought, well, I've got them all strapped in, and they're quiet and happy and everything. And so I decided that we'd run through the car wash. And we actually went to the car wash where you hand spray it yourself. And they had not been through that one with me before. I don't think they've been through one like that because I don't think their mom hand sprays it. But, oh, they thought that was so fun. Each time I got up to their window and I had that nozzle and was spraying at them, they just thought it was hilarious. So we did that, and then got back to the house, and they were hungry, and so we had lunch, and then they wanted to go out in the backyard and play for a little bit. And so they did go out and play in the backyard with their dump trucks and the rocks and everything, and the little basketball goal we have for them, the little basketball they were playing out there. And then they went down for a nap, and when they got down for the nap, I went out and I vacuumed my car out and wiped everything down and got all the Cheerios and the goldfish crackers and all the things that the boys are making a mess with in the car, and got it all cleaned out and nice and neat, which made me happy. It really needed a good clean after winter, and so I scrubbed it from top to bottom and got it cleaned up. So this one I decided to lay this gold panel on. I thought it'd be fun to have some more gold. This is nothing. She didn't do this. She didn't lay the extra panels down. She didn't do the layers either. She just basically laid the frame, the tag, the butterfly, and the ribbon on it, and a sentiment. But I'm going to bring in that gold because I thought it would just, and it was a scrap piece of gold that was an odd size that I probably wouldn't have used otherwise, and I'm trying to get rid of some scrap junk in here. And so a lot of this that I've used for these were just oddball scrap pieces to try and use them up. Now here I'm just going to put some foam tape on this frame. It is patterned paper, and I thought the foam tape would strengthen it up a little bit and of course give it some dimension. And these are those foam strips that I got from scrapbook.com, and I got the wrong millimeter, and they're so flimsy they're hard to work with. I usually get, I don't know, I must get a 2 millimeter or something, but I like the narrow strips like that, but these are just so flimsy. I think I got them on sale. So we're just going to get this one laid down as well. And I'm kind of just building these two cards together and not, just step by step instead of completing one and moving on to the next, but I don't think it matters. So we'll get this laid down on there. And again, just some scrap pattern paper that, I had a little strip of. And now comes the ticket. Now the ticket was kind of laid across the frame and then the butterfly on it. And these are kind of big for the frame, so I'm going to just kind of cut it down. And then we'll add it to the panel. And then we can layer butterfly on top of it. And my heater has decided to kick on, and I'm sitting right next to it, so hopefully it's not too loud. I apologize. I know a lot of times you guys say you can't hear it, but it seems pretty loud to me when I'm trying to do a voiceover. So I'm just going to use some foam squares on there and get this popped up. And this is going to be the area where our little butterfly is going to lay. And I just took some scrap pattern paper that I had from an earlier project that had some writing on it, and I cut this smaller butterfly out for this one. And then I'm going to cut this specimen sheet down here into a small tag-like image, and then we'll lay it down and we'll get our other butterfly on it. I'm going to use some foam squares as well, get it popped up and laid down on there, and then we'll get our butterfly on there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the butterfly's body and let the butterfly's wings pop up so that we'll add some dimension. Now she always puts like a little scrap of, I don't know, hers looked like tulle is what she had. I didn't have any of that. So I had this white lace, and I thought I'd just cut it down into small pieces. And she just always bunches it up and then grabs a stapler and staple it. So I had to go grab Pat's staple out of the desk. And I'm going to tuck it up in there. And we'll just put some glue in there and just tuck it up in there. And then we'll do the same thing on the other one. And then for sentiments, I always have a bowl of just all kinds of sentiments. Whenever I do like a batch of sentiments, I use whatever for the card that I made, and then I always have a bunch of extra ones left over, especially with the Better Press and the Glimmer. And so I'll just go to that bowl and I'll grab a couple sentiments and we'll get them laid down on these two panels. So the larger one has You Inspire Me Daily, which I love. And I thought that was kind of interesting because I was inspired by her card to make it. And I'm using You Inspire Me Daily. And then for the other one, I'm using Thanks for Everything. Now, I do have some creators that I watch daily to get my inspiration from. And I always try to, keep up by watching others and getting ideas. When you do content every day, sometimes you get hard pressed for what you're going to do. Now, I laid this sentiment down on there, then I looked at it later and I shifted it over quite a bit, so less of it was laying on my butterfly. So you'll see that in the picture in the end. But that'll pretty much finish off these 2 cards. I think they were interesting and different, and I haven't got messy in a while. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.